Good morning from St. Augustine. We are in Augusta, Maine, the capital of the state of Maine. And came into town really for a Walmart run, but I also wanted to go for a little walk in the downtown area, the popular part of town, if you will. I thought, true to, because this is different than what I'm used to in Poland, where I can just kind of walk down the street and boom, walk into a church. It's a little bit different here. You have to, this church, St. Augustine, which was built in 1916, if I remember right, is on top of a hill. It was built for the majority, if I remember right, the French mill workers that had come down. But it's locked, because that's how things roll here. But let me at least show you the front of it. And what's cool about the church, because it's on a hill, is it's pretty much on like the high point of town, or I'll say it's one of the highest points here in town. So you get a nice view of the old hospital way in the distance, some government buildings, some bridges. But yeah, so this is the church. I know this is quite the beginning, huh? Look, as I said, I'm showing you the best that the town has to offer. Look at these nice row houses, as I call them. So we're gonna jump back in the car and go down to the street level, and yeah, I'll show you the nicer part of town. Because honestly, it's probably not the most picturesque area, if you will. One thing that continues to throw me off, as we go back to the car, is the church is being locked. In New Hampshire anyway, I usually hit a string where most of the churches they're unlocked, at least during the middle of the day, even the ones that are only have mass once a week. But here in Augusta, that's not the case. I have found that if they're not in session, then it is locked. Period. This is the Kennebec River, if I remember right. It came right down from the church, and now here we are along the water. It's funny though, I have to admit, well, it's not funny, it's actually just the reality of being in this area. This city, generally speaking, it just has a weird vibe. But I think it's a middle America vibe of where there's a combination of poverty. There's some people that really have some abundance of money as well, and you're seeing that contrast in the city, in these cities, in this region. So even now, as I walk this route, it's like I'm a little bit leery, to be honest. I mean, I passed on the street. I was in a park farther down, but instead we're down along the river trail instead, because there was a significant line in front of the soup kitchen, and I'm not used to that. And even though I can speak the language, it just makes me a little bit uncomfortable. Now, last summer, I actually ended up parking down here. This is why we're actually here in the first place. I parked down here because this trail goes all the way to Gardner, and it's a converted railroad trail. And years ago, when they had just finished doing the trail, now we're talking 15, 16 years ago at this point, I think. Sounds about right. Yeah. I did the Kennebec Rail Trail Half Marathon, their first annual one, and that's how I found this trail. So now, when I moved back to the area, one of the reasons was so that I wanted to have some form of access to get on this pretty level run. If you look, you head that way, takes you on the trail. It's a good route. We're gonna go back this way through the parking lot so I can show you what they've been doing the last few years with revitalizing this part of Augusta. But again, as I said, the struggle, if you get out of, well, even on the street, you'll see the contrast of everything. And when you get out into more of the side streets in the community, and we're not talking Walmart, I'm talking just going down the road in different directions, you definitely see it's a different region than, say, if you were in the seacoast part of New Hampshire or even seacoast part of Maine. Central Maine, this part of Maine, I mean, even this is different than the Belgrade Lakes region or the China Lakes region. They all just have their different vibes. But it's just something to be like aware of and knowledgeable about. So we did the turn onto Water Street. How exciting. Look, it's the Maine Mathematics and Science Alliance. Woo! I probably should have stopped, as a math instructor. Now, littered on the street, we have kind of a couple interesting things. So you have these sturgeon. I'm going to say these random fish. I still think they are these random fish, but they have a little Scantron thing, right? I call it Scantron. They have a little barcode for you to scan, and they have these littered throughout. So I don't really know the whole purpose behind it. I know sturgeons swim up into the river here. Maybe that's about them. And look at this cute little style. Reminds me of Breakfast at Tiffany's. Now across the street you have the gin mill. I don't know what that is. I assume it deals with alcohol. But even this, it's interesting. It's like we're walking by, and it's like these places are not, I don't know. It's like they're not full either. There's a river back there. Look both ways. Let's look at this sturgeon real quick before we keep walking down the street. I have a feeling this is going to be like, this tour just feels a little underwhelming. But hey, that's Augusta for you. Do you guys like this sturgeon better? The little park right here. It's not really as pretty as, I don't know, as my Polish parks that now I'm going to compare everything to. Now, one thing that the city has going for itself that I really like are these right here. It's the Museum in the Streets. And they have a write-up in French and in English explaining to you the history of different things. So like over near where the church was, I know that's where the mill history was. This building right here is the old post office. Or maybe it's the same post office. Now it's the federal building. But look at this. It's beautiful. And this architecture actually reminds me a lot of buildings in the Chicago area, actually. All right, look at this right here. Another cute little sturgeon. And then this building, this one right here, is where the E.C. Allen Publishing Company was, I guess. I'm not very much of a tour guide today. Oh my God. Am I back in Krakow? I have found the most beautiful steps ever. Where I used to live, in the old part of Poguja, they had these painted stairs where everyone would pose for their selfies. And look what I found. We have them here too. Without the motivational sayings on them, but hey, we have them too. So Krakow, you're not that special. Better view of the old postal building right there. River, buildings, sturgeon. And I think I saw something rather special that makes Augusta now one of my favorite cities in all of Maine. Are you curious why? Well, I'll show you why. And no, it's not because we have autos on the river right here that is serving a breakfast buffet, by the way, or this sturgeon. No. And it's not the downtown yoga place, this is even better. For my longtime fans, it's because of the Patricia Buck Bridal right here. Look what we found. Oh my God. And this one's looking at me. Woo! All right. See, that's what makes Augusta a great city, right? Doesn't matter about anything else. We have our bridal dresses. Now, granted, there's quite a glare, which kind of sucks because then we can't enjoy it as much, but still. Now, unlike in Poland, the wedding capital of the world, this place also has tuxedo rentals. So, sorry ladies, it's not just for guys. But that's cool. So, the Patricia Buck. Now, the question is that the only wedding dress shop, though, here in town? It probably is. I'm just going to go out on a limb and say that. Got another sturgeon. And another sturgeon. That's what I'm going to call this. This is all it's going to be. It's going to be like, hey, welcome to the sturgeon tour. Awesome. That was Augusta Fire and Rescue. And it's funny because there's really no traffic, so I'm not really sure why they had to hit the lights. So I was just complimenting the city on having these museum in the streets, but then this one's completely filthy. And then we have a sturgeon there and a sturgeon there, and there's so many sturgeon, I don't think we're going to be able to hit them all. And for that, I'm deeply sorry. This one's interesting. Look at this. It's got like a woman on it. So, what's an interesting dynamic for me again, so this is the Cushing Brewing Company. I have been here. It's pretty fun. Sorry, Cushnog. And it's very festive. To kind of give you a comparison, though, on like this part of the world to other parts of the United States. So, like, this is a brewing company. So it's, you get your own adult beverages of choice. But look, it closes every night at 9. And then Friday and Saturday, they stay up till 10. So the point is, this is, everything kind of shuts down a little bit earlier than some might expect. It's kind of cool. The Whiskey Kitchen is right across the street. But then what's funny is the Boys and Girls Club Teen Center is right there. It's just an interesting main street. Well, Water Street, if you will. Now, this appears to be more picturesque with the colored buildings, paint job. There's Sonny's Museum and Gift Shop. It's a rock shop. I don't know if they have any good deals. I can tell you that the rock shop is probably better in a place called in Standish, Maine. I'm always looking for the best artwork possible. And look what I found. Atreyu and Falcor. How can you go wrong? The Neverending story lives on. Now, if you look straight ahead, that's the church. Right there. And then, in comparison, we just walked this stretch right here. It's really not that long at all, but if you're looking, if you were looking just to come down maybe for a drink, a little walk on the river, maybe lunch, you can do that here. At least that's what they want you to do. I appreciate this sign. In memory of Rufus Lishness, who died here in the line of duty, November 11th, 1884. Remember the Augusta police. I wonder what happened. And for you people that really wanted to see the old Fort Western, you can take tours. It's right behind us right here. As for me, I'm getting hungry. So we need to go find a place to eat. Let's go. So we have arrived at the Hi-Hat Pancake House and Drive-In. I went here many, many years ago. Note the drive-in they have too right here. It's pretty cool. You can drive right up. Still works, still operates. You go in, you put your lights on, and then they bring you your food. Entrance is right here. Okay, here we go. As you can see, there's a lot to choose from. So I gotta figure that out, and I will. So I just ordered the 222 Riverview. It's 2 buttermilk pancakes, although I could have got a flavor. I chose the buttermilk. 2 eggs, sunny side up. 2 sausage links, and I did go with the Maine maple syrup. I paid a little extra for that, but it's definitely worth it. My brother-in-law makes maple syrup. Well, more like he taps the trees and then does the process. But the point is, it tastes significantly better and it's healthier for you. So yeah. The last time I was here, which is so crazy, probably was like 2008. It's been that long. I only remember because I was married at the time, and the ex had this thing for French fries and chocolate chips in the pancakes. I mean, the French fries would be separate, but the point is that was her thing, and this is where she was able to get it. So it's been probably that long, maybe 2009. So here are our fresh pancakes. I got my butter right here, my maple syrup. Got my eggs and my sausage links. I usually get for the patties, but I was in the mood for sausage. Good. Now, do you guys have a preference for your favorite style for the eggs? I went sunny side up. Sometimes, though, I usually go with poached. It just depends on my feeling. I'm not really much of a scrambled fan. I figured because I ran 10 and a half miles this morning, I need some extra food in me. Now, full disclosure, I'm more of a waffle guy. Kind of goes like this: waffles, French toast, and pancakes in the order of preference. But because we're here, I could have gotten those, but I figured if I'm going to be at the Hi-Hat Pancake House, I should get some pancakes. Here we go, getting close. Got my maple syrup now, the best part, homegrown. Not Mrs. Buttersworth or Aunt Jemima or whatever they're called.
Alright, well, try to stay healthy, right? Not too much.
It's a good call. It's good. I haven't had pancakes in a while.
Pick up the kids and maybe go to a lake or something.
Bon appetit.
How about you guys?
All right, the meal is done. I love the fact that the prices are very similar to what they were circa 2010. I mean, I'm sure they went up a little bit, but really, they were really, really reasonable. Next time I come back, I'll get my waffle. But right across the way, you can't tell from here, but is that same trail, the one that we started off on in the beginning. This is closer to the Gardner line. I think this is in Farmingdale. So now we'll start working our way back. So right now we are one town up. We're in Hallowell, which has these like massive estates. I don't know if you guys can see that at all. Maybe it'll come up, maybe it won't. I spotted this church I wanted to go check out, but I can't happen to get to it. So we're going slowly now, and you guys are along for the ride. I just wanted to show us the church. I'm going to try this again. I'm going to cut onto Summer Street. There also was a sign I wanted to check out. It's so funny. It's like, so I managed to loop around. I drove right by it the first time. So this is Sacred Heart Church right here. At this point, it's only open like, I think it's like twice a month. But what I liked about it is back in the heyday, my understanding is like, this would have probably been a very busy church. At least they would have had their own masses, probably once a week at least. This is probably the old rectory right here. I don't know for sure though, just guessing. It's such a contrast to where we were in Augusta. It's a little bit more residential for sure. So this is nice right here. They have this, we have music in the background serenading us. And then this monument right here is to the pastures of Sacred Heart Parish since 1878. Cool. I will say this, I did not miss the people who have their windows down and crank their music. That's not really as prevalent in Poland. At least I didn't notice it as much. So I'm pretty sure this is locked. Oh, now I feel like it wasn't even a car, it was a guy in a wheelchair. Now I feel like anyway, let's see. So here's the church. Needs a little love. It's probably locked. And yes, it was definitely locked. But we'll walk down the street for a moment. Look at this house. Can you guys see that okay? Oh, I don't even think it's coming up right. That sucks. It's a disservice. It's a pretty house. I mean, really, this whole section of Hallowell is extremely beautiful with pristine houses, colonial style, or what's that, like federal? Yeah. So here are flowers in Maine. The ones that are out anyway right now. I think those are lilies. I think that's what my mom said. I just call them the orange flower. Fittingly, we're on Summer Street. And then here's like your old style big colonial home. If you go down one street, one more level, then you hit the river. I really know nothing about the history of Hallowell. I just assumed based off of the size of the colonials that maybe it was the owners of the lumber yards and the other industry that was pumping in up here. Maybe even the ship captains. This is where they had decided they were going to stay and live. Because like a house like this actually reminds me of my old, growing up, we had a farmhouse. It was very similar in style to this one right here. And in seagoing tradition anyway, the 4 windows up front represents the captain. Like 2 windows on the right and 1 window was like a I don't know, second in command. There was a pecking order based off of the windows. At least I remember that from my time when I would go down to the vineyard with my family in the summers, across from the Harborside Inn. That's something that on a tour they had shared with us. So it's always kind of stayed in memory whenever I've seen these older brick homes and you see the 4 windows. Well, that's a captain's house. But most of these houses here all have 4 windows. Like this one right here, you know. They're redoing this one. So this was the Levi Morgan house in 1799, if you wanted to know what those type of houses look like. It's humid today, in case you were wondering. It's funny when the sun comes out, which is a rare thing here in Maine. Because I know people have been complaining about all the rain. For me, I prefer the colder weather. So, give me fall, give me winter, even give me spring. And summer's fine. Just the humidity here kind of just sinks in on you. So in a way, the humidity here feels worse at times than the humidity, say, in like Washington, D.C. A couple blocks down, you're right on the water again. And what Hallowell has done, which is very, very nice, is they put out these beautiful chairs so you can look out onto the river, onto the Kennebec, the same river that we were on in the beginning of this tour today. The last time I was here on this stretch, it was like 6 o'clock in the morning, and I was looking for a portable restroom, which just happens to be right over there. And there was a group of more seasoned citizens, if you will, who were out doing yoga to the sunrise. So if you're into that, here's a spot for that. Now, if you ask my family, and if you give them a choice, where are they going to go? Are they going to go for a drink? Are they going to go to Augusta, or are they going to go down to Hallowell? Well, they're probably going to go to Hallowell, only because it's really quite the it's quite the hip spot. I mean, come on, where Augusta we only had 4 steps that were painted. Look at this. There's so many more. It's like Little Krakow all over again. And I say that because after me being so amazed by all the murals in Europe, I come here and the first thing I see is this. Now, the lighting might not do it justice, but I think it's maybe the history of the United States or of Maine, because you see the natives and then like Revolutionary times, but then I see wedding dresses. And is that the Wicked Witch? So we are in Hallowell, the city of Hallowell, a welcoming city. And this is your quintessential main street. I mean, there are other streets, but this is the main street with your Pakistani and Indian cuisine. Easy Street Lounge. Here's a hangout spot where you have Central Maine for the Idol down here. This is the quarry and the tap room. I have never been here. Have relatives that rave about it though. I hear the food's good. Beverages are even better. Juiced Cafe. Now for me, when I was a kid, we weren't so much coming down here for the farm to table for the dining, although that's cool. What we were coming down here for was there was a Chinese restaurant right here on the river where you looked out. So see, like, here's a little coffee shop, but boom, you're right on the river. Here's a local ice cream spot. Nice, huh? So here's a different vantage point behind me. See, again, we're almost done. Like, there's only like a couple more buildings, then you're done with this main street part. But it's just enough if people want to grab something to eat, enjoy the river, have some wine and some tapas. You go right there. You go to pizza right here. You've noted I haven't seen any wedding dresses on this stretch, so yeah, can't be that cool of an area. Hey, but Lucky Garden's open again. That's cool. Have to come back here. So see, the Lucky Garden was directly right on the water. And what we're going to do is we're just going to kind of sneak down through their customer parking into this little grove right here, because I'm cool like that. And I'll take you on the local route. God, it's wet. So when I run on that trail, because this all connects back to the trail, this is actually part of it. We come out from where we just parked before, and then you go this way, and you cross the road, then there's an underpass, and there's more running, obviously. And we'll go right by the Top Hat place that we had just hit. So see, here's the backside of one of those restaurants. And again, it just looks right out onto the river. It's beautiful. So you might be thinking to yourself, hey John, is there anything else in this area? Well, of course there is. You know, you can only show so much in like a 25-minute vlog or 30-minute vlog. I can only kind of just show you just a couple of the glimpses. There's so much more to Augusta that I didn't show, for good, yeah, for better or for worse, depending on where you drive. Even if you go down the way that we went to go eat in Gardner, there's some really cool historical places to check out. Dam's beautiful. I think it's a dam, yeah. That's what I would call it. You know, it's just giving you a little bit of a taste, if you will. So perhaps if you're up here, you are like, hey, let's go check out that spot. So with that, I'm just going to say thanks for tagging along today. I hope you enjoyed what you saw. And until next time, guys. Peace.